Right. So good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dina, for the introduction. And also thank you, the SE community, for organizing this one. I think this will be really helpful for the students who are going to start the research project in the next semester. Now the recent deadline is for TAF evaluation, but the topics and the parts that we are going to discuss today will be for the overall project. In this presentation, I'm hoping to talk a little bit about the first few points in this one, research clusters, sustainable development goals, industry vertical, research project learning outcomes. Then we'll move on to specific research areas and RP specialization related checklist. So that is the main thing that we are going to talk today because that is important for all the SC specialization students. About the research clusters, I believe now you have an idea about this. Maybe you have gone through preliminary presentations from the RP group, and you have idea about these research clusters. So our department belongs to software systems and technologies. So mainly the project should be selected under this particular cluster. But unless if you have a highly related topic for the other research clusters, you can select them. Still, the requirement for specializations will be needed from the C students, right? So under our category, you can see software engineering, high performance computing, parallel computing, and etc. are being like clustered. If we talk about the sustainable development goals, so this is from I think Bernd, now I can't remember which is the one. I think it's from anyway, like sustainable development goals is from W something, can't remember. Anyway, like these are the sustainable development goals. So if you can make your project in line with some sustainable development goals, that will be really easy, like when you're going for competitions and also like to gain a good mark. So because now if you can align your project goals with sustainable development goals, for example, if you are working on something related to agriculture, you can go with like zero hunger or maybe good health and well-being. Or if it is about something managing water reservoir or maybe water distribution project, it can be clean water and sanitization like that. You can align some of these goals with your project, then it will give you a uh, clear identification at competition levels that will actually make your project actually gain more marks since you are addressing these things. Then the next one is the industry vertical. So ideally, if your project can be aligned with industry vertical, you can partner with the industry and also get some external supervisors from the industry. So there can be like agricultural sectors, then there you can go with government projects, and there are some private organizations as well. Chemical related projects can be there, hospitality, technology, education, media and entertainment, like that. You can bring the industry into your project as supervisors. And also like they can, like you can develop the product for their needs as well. But that should be discussed at the beginning. At now, actually, you might even before the proposal stage, if you are aligning with some of these verticals, better to find a industry and go with them. But for RAF level, it's not needed. But I think when you go into the proposal stage, even a staff panel may give a suggestion like go with the industry. Your topic is suitable for one of them. So your project might be aligning with education, then fintech, government, healthcare, like that. If you can align your project goals into one of these and finding a industry will actually help you when you go forward. Then these are the main parts that you need to look into always, like when you are achieving a milestone. So the idea of the research project is to uh, gain these learning outcomes. So put more efforts into making sure that you have completed these five while you are going on, right? While you are in the project period. because always this will be the parts that will be coming under the marking scheme when you are being evaluated. Now, first one is provide a creative and innovative solution for open-ended or complex problem. So that's what we are doing as finding research questions, defining the objectives and achieving them. Then the second point is the one that we are specifically looking at. This is applying key pillars of the domain of computing. Now here, when you say applying the key pillars of domain of computing, now that's why we have divided our research project into now clusters, not the clusters, specialization specific projects. So now we will be looking at the key pillars of the software engineering, whether you are achieving them or not, right? Then project management methodologies, whether you are applying them, then what are the ethical considerations, security, social, legal, and what kind of professional contexts are available for this one. So learning outcome 3 is also, it's actually defined in the project management perspective. And if you are involving people, animal, and something related to ethical considerations, you need to have that clearance. Then security, social context, legal parts, you need to make sure that those are addressed while you are addressing your project objectives. Then the learning outcome 4 is communicate effectively with wide range of audiences, including both technical and non-technical stakeholders. So mainly this will be happening at the presentation level for the panel. And not only that, this is applicable for when you are doing the research presentations and when you are going for technological conferences, or maybe sometimes you are going for competitions. So knowing the domain will actually definitely help you to address different kind of audiences. For example, you need to make sure that when you are doing a project related to agriculture, you are familiar with the words that are coming under that particular domain, the things that they are discussing at that particular level of domain. So when it is fintech, you need to make sure that you know all the jargons and different words that are used in that context, so that it's easier when you are pitching your idea to different communities. Not only like if now you will not always talk to the lecturers, you will basically go and present your product in various occasions. So make sure when you are selecting a project, you read around the topic and gain some knowledge from the maybe newspapers or maybe different articles that are published. Maybe like you can subscribe to different social media channels and make sure that you know the industry, so that it will help you to deal with all these things that I have mentioned. So learning outcome 4, make sure that you achieve this in a higher scale, because it will help you to gain to grow as a good person even after the project. Then the fifth one is again important, commercial viability of the product. So now most of the students are sometimes not paying much attention to this one. So make sure now, I think it's better if you can look at programs like Shark Tanks or Dragon's Den, how they are pitching their product to a set of investors. So this kind of product pitching, product definition, costing, these things have to be done at this commercialization part. So make sure that part is addressed. Now give a value to your product and know how to market your product. So that's the learning outcome 5. So make sure these are addressed throughout your project, right? So when you go complete the project and look behind, these are the learning outcomes that should be completed, that should be achieved at the end. Then the SC specific research area. Now, I think since you have been talking to your supervisors and finalizing the task, I think now you have a clear idea on which part that your project belongs to. Sometimes it can be a software engineering related project. For example, it can be something related to code review, agile methodology, DevOps integration, maintenance, like that. Then there can be something related to high performance computing, something related to energy efficiency, big data analysis, or maybe scientific applications. Then it can be parallel computing, whether you are working on an algorithm or maybe fault tolerance in parallel systems, then cloud environment, how those are handled in the cloud environments. So you can maybe coming up with a new domain-specific programming language, right? So I think I am involved in something related to this block here. Uh, some students are also here. Now, Blocky is actually now a kind of way to program. So that kind of thing is something related that comes under the programming languages. Then language support for concurrency, like that you can address something related, specifically related to software engineering or parallel computing or programming languages. So, and you can see some other parts are also there, like mobile computing. You can talk about security. Then again, how you process, how you integrate machine learning with mobile devices. Now that can be coming under the mobile computing area. Then rich web-based applications and the architecture and design, like their architecture can be different from application to application to optimize the process. So that can be researched and develop a new system based on that. So depending on your topic, this particular specific area will be selected. So mainly everything comes under the umbrella term of software systems and technologies. Then I believe now you are familiar with the RP schedule. So these are the main milestones that you have in these boxes. You can see starting with the DAF. Then you will have the project charter. Then you will do the presentation, proposal presentation, progress presentation 1, progress presentation 2, final evaluation and viva. Then finally you will complete with the thesis and the log. Now I am coming to the today's main topic, which is the specialization checklist. Now, these are actually something that we introduced to your batch. And from previous batch, what is missing is the status documents, right? So if you talk to your seniors, there's a specific set of documents that you were supposed to submit, which is called status documents, which were accepted in 2 stages, before PP1 and after nearly the final evaluation. Right now, these are not there anymore. Now we have specialization specific components that we need, right? So now this one at the PP1 level, we will be expecting you to submit your Git repository link. So it should be now. Sometimes it might not be able to, like you might not be able to share the public repository. So you need to make sure that this is shared as the SC's department ask you to share. Like maybe we'll give you a common email. Maybe you can add us as a contributors and you can share the link with us. We'll communicate that to you how to share this, because making your repository public will pose some problems. So this should be submitted before the PP1, and from that period, we will be checking the Git repository time to time until the end of the program and end of the project, right? I will come back to that when we talk about Git repository. Then 90% stage, you are supposed to submit a video of UI UX and the demo, right? I will tell you what is UI UX demo video in much detail in the coming slides. Then before the thesis, you need to submit another report called deployment report, right? So these are the 3 things that you need to submit additionally, apart from the common goals that you have in the RP, right? So 3 things are the Git repository, the UI UX demo video, and the deployment report, right? Now, there are no specific marking rubric for each of these. Like Git repository, there's no allocated mark for that. UI UX demo video, there's no allocation. And deployment report, there are no allocation of marks or a specific rubric that will give you marks. But from the status documents, there are like 2 marks or 4 marks, I'm not sure exactly. 2 marks, let's say 2 marks, that 2 marks will be directly awarded if these checklist, all these points are completed, right? But in order to complete them, you need to make sure all the requirements are fulfilled, right? Otherwise, the SC department will not allow you to gain those 2 marks or complete the research project, right? So this checklist must be checked before you complete the project. Even though you have completed all the presentations, even though you have even published your research work, completed the thesis, we will not approve your project is completed if you don't provide this required checklist, if you didn't complete them, right? So we'll now look into, so as I mentioned, there are no specific mark allocation, but if you complete all these three, these 2 marks are guaranteed. And there are no partial marks even. You will get the 2 marks, and also you need to make sure that you have completed this. Otherwise, there will be the project will be not accepted. Now let's see what are the requirements of the Git repository. Right, I will open the question. I will open the chat for Q&A later, but these are the main parts that we will be looking from the Git repository. So the main point to start with, you need to make sure that you will be committing all the logical changes, right? So you don't have to put commits for all the changes, like for a small changes, but make sure single logical change is represented by the commit. So whenever you created the new file, whenever you make a bug fix, whenever you introduce a new library, make sure that you will put a commit with a readable commit message, right? So that is really important to have number of commits. So we will not limit, like we will not ask you for a specific number of commits. So you can understand if there are 10 or 15 files, the minimum number of commits should be 15 commits for at least for the file creation. Then you can understand like how much commits that can be associated with each file for major logical changes, right? So make sure there are always your project files will be committed throughout the project period. So for this, actually, don't add unnecessary comments at the end of the project. So we will be checking the timeline also. So make sure this is a practice that you will follow whenever you code, right? So you need to make sure you will commit all the changes always. Then there must be a branching strategy that you will use in your project, right? So now GitHub Flow is the recommended one. At least you can, if you are familiar with Git Flow, no problem. But that will be a little bit complex because there are like multiple levels of branching. GitHub Flow is much easier. Like you have only about three types of branching, like main branch, development branch, and the feature branch, right? So ideally, GitHub Flow would be the best option. Then you might be wondering like how we are going to assess now when you are following something like branching strategy, the branches will be closed, right? So whenever you merge the branch, the feature branch will be closed, then final product, then development branch will be there. So it doesn't matter when you commit, all the commits will be assessed. And as I mentioned, time to time, we are monitoring your GitHub repository. So having a specific branching strategy is a must. Then keep the main branch stable and deployable. So always when we check the main branch, it should be a stable version of the project, right? And it should be ideally deployable also. So make sure to keep the main branch like that. Then use pull request to merge changes into the main branch. Then you can make sure that there will be no issues whenever you are merging your changes to the main branch. Then ensure changes are reviewed by the peers before merging. So whenever you do that, now you can understand this is becoming a little bit like a software and like company. You four have to get together. Maybe you can involve your supervisor also if they are available for merging your changes into the main branch, right? So make sure that is done mindfully. Otherwise, you can understand what will go wrong. Then clear document to clearly document your Git workflow and practices in the README file. At least you should keep the dates where you have merged your main branch, right? That is the minimum requirement for the README file. There should be the dates and details about the merging for the main branches. Uh, Other than that, you can include a lot of other work, maybe like how you have branched, what are the details of your project, maybe include the features that you have introduced. It's up to you. Minimum requirement is to have a dated record in the README file talking about merging the main branch. So that is about the Git repository. If you have questions, keep them in the chat. I will answer them later on. Then this is again UI UX video important. Uh, so this video will be submitted at the PP2, which is the 90% progress presentation. So we are expecting you to complete your project at the 90%, right? So there should not be any development after the 90%. So ideally, all the development will be completed by the 90%. Only testing with the real users or maybe uh, evaluating your product and the documentation part should be the only part that is left for the 10%. Right? So make sure by the time of 90%, everything is completed. That means you should be able to demonstrate the completed application, right? Now let's see what are the parts that you need to include in the UI and UX demo video. So as you can see, this is UI UX demo, right? So you need to make sure that initial sketches will be there. So even though we are expecting the video at the 90% stage, you can see initial sketches cannot be included in the last minute. So from the beginning of the project, you need to record everything. Record means it's not about like getting all the things into a screen capture. You can have screenshots, you can have photos, right? How you have discussed your ideas, how you have ideate, then what are the initial sketches that you came up with. Then build a conceptual model. So include the conceptual model for your application, right? Then after coming up with the conceptual model, you need to make sure that you are getting the feedback from the users or maybe the stakeholders of the project, right? Sometimes there can be actual users that will definitely use the product. But if there's no something like that, like if the users are not available, then have some way to get the feedback about the initial sketches. Then you need to make sure that you have addressed the feedback that you have gained from your users or, as I mentioned earlier, from any stakeholder. Then address that those changes also you have to clearly mention in the recording video. Then you need to finalize the mockup. Then mockup should be the final product that you're going to make, right? So it should be exactly similar to what you're going to build at the end, right? So there will be no sudden decisions that you will take at the later stage of the project. At the beginning, so since this is going to be a software engineering project, by the 50% stage, you should be able to have a finalized mockup with the initial changes. Then for the final mockup also, you need to make sure that you will get the feedback that this is okay. If for this stage, if feedback taken is not available, as I mentioned, if the real users are not available, you can do something like heuristic analysis after doing the final UI, right? So you can learn about heuristic analysis later, like how you can do that. So there are like specific design guidelines. You can have a checklist about that and maybe check your product by yourself, right? So this is actually can be a repetitive process. Make sure you record everything up to finalizing the UI mockups. Then after finalizing that, you can demonstrate the actual application at the later stage with maybe real users or maybe done by yourself, right? So these are the things that are needed for the UI UX demo video, and that can be an informative video, right? That means you don't need narration is optional, right? So you don't have to explain everything from the beginning to end, right? So sometimes if the narration is needed, you can have a narration part for maybe at least for maybe demonstration. Maybe when you are getting the user feedback, you can get actual users feedback as a recording and put it there. There's no, it's not a must, right? It's optional. Informative video should be enough. That means at least text-based description should be there from each part to each part, right? For example, this is you can explain the initial sketches, then you can explain the conceptual model that you have come up with, then you can list the user feedback that you have gained, then you can show the final mock-up and feedback about that, right? Then finally, when you demonstrate, maybe if narration is needed, that's not a problem. Then and you can see the limit for the video is 20 minutes. So you can understand that. So how this should be arranged and what kind of time period should be allocated for each and every part of this. If you have questions about the UI UX demo video, put that into the chat. I will address them at the end. Then the final one is the deployment report. Now there are like few criteria that I have included in this particular report, but sometimes depending on your project, some of the parts might not be applicable. So when we give you the template for the report, we will make sure what are the mandatory requirements and what are the project specific requirements that you will be need to included in the deployment report. Right. So mainly you can come up with the executive summary where you summarize the deployment, the purpose, and the outcomes. Where here you can highlight the important metrics such as deployment success rate, downtime, like that. Then deployment objectives. Then pre-deployment activities, right? So such as like configuration, what kind of environment that you need to do have. You can talk about Dockerization. You can talk about how you have used microservices and maybe how you have used Lambda functions like that. You can define them here. Then deployment details, how when the deployment took place like that. This is not a descriptive answer, just listing them is enough. We are actually checking whether this has been done as a software engineering project. So that's the idea. Then ideally you can have this deployment checklist where whether you have done the code review properly, whether you have done the testing properly, whether you have checked the security, whether the environment setup has been done properly, database, infrastructure, application build details, deployment details like that. You can check, have a checklist for that. So that checklist should be included in the report. Then what is the missing part? I have missed something very simple. Pre-deployment activities. Here, this is the part where you include all the testing, right? So you need to make sure the application is tested from the beginning to the end. So at least there should be unit testing and integration testing and user acceptance testing. Depending on your project, that can be varied, but we will like give you the exact criteria for your project type. Then you must include the testing part. So testing and these things are really important in this particular report. Then performance monitoring, right? So for performance monitoring, you can use open source tools or maybe some tools that are commercially available depending on your budget, or maybe if you have access to them, maybe at office level, not sure whether those are usable, like Grafana or maybe Google Lighthouse, Datadog, and AppDynamics. Those things can be used to monitor the performance of your application, right? So these are again based on your application that might vary, but performance and monitoring, there should be a part depending on your project options. I hope background noise is not affecting the presentation. Yeah. So again, like post-deployment activities like again testing, validation, documenting, these things are optional as I mentioned. So these are just roughly I have put them here. Depending on your project, it can be varied, right? So we'll provide you a template for that. Now at the moment, don't worry about it. But this will be actually submitted at the later stage. So as I mentioned earlier, this is done in the uh, final evaluation stage, right? So, yeah, that's about it that I want to talk today. So I think I have covered the checklist part. Any questions? So there's a background noise going on. Maybe I will mute the mic for now. You can put your questions if you have any in the chat.
Hello guys, so if you have any questions for Mr. Sushandan sir, please drop them down in the chat so he can try his best to answer them. Does anyone else has problems, questions for Mr. Sushandan?
Some staff members are also here now. Did I miss something? Maybe I think checklist part is okay. Other than that, like, did I miss something? Maybe they can give me their inputs also.
It seems like there's a question in the chat. I think practically you covered everything from the deliverables aspect. Can I take over a little bit? I'm sorry, I joined a little
Yeah, sure,
late.
man. Yeah, sure.
So hello, students. Good evening, everyone. I'm really sorry I got stuck with the traffic and got delayed to come home from office actually. So I hope Mr. Sustanjana gave you an insight about the projects that we are expecting as a department from you all, since actually last year, second semester, students, we launched this RP projects as specialization specific projects, where each specialization specifies the type of expectations that their RP projects need to have. Let me tell you the background of this one, because we all should be in the same page in this. It's not to make your lives more miserable or anything like that. What we wanted to do, our intention was actually to get the maximum out of our own students. Say for an example, in earlier evaluation scheme, be it a software engineering student or a data science student or interactive media or an interactive media student, all of them were evaluated equally using the same types of rubrics, using same type of deliverables, and to see they were having different types of scopes inside their projects. And some of these students could not put their knowledge into the real research aspect based on their specialization. So over the years, we have noticed these kind of shortcomings in the way that we have been doing RP projects. And at some point, we decided let's make the projects more specialization specific. So what we are expecting there is in each specialization, we have actually 7 specializations. So inside these 7 specializations, vertically, we will be listing down our expectations, but all of us will be gathering to a common goal where our students are supposed to do a project. In that project, there has to be some innovative component, with that innovativeness and the research background, they will be delivering something as the output. So within that context, we defined different parameters, we defined different measurable outcomes, and that's what we are going to measure during this time period. And not to mix it up, but RP project, there is a unit coordinator, right? LIC, Dr. Jayantha. He will be acting as the LIC. He will be doing all the managing part, conducting common sessions, so on and so forth throughout the year. So you all are expected to be a part of that lecture series, definitely, and the deadline setting and the deliverables that they are expecting from their end also. You need to meet all these criteria. Other than that, from the SC projects, as Mr. Tustanjana mentioned, we may define few milestones, right? Just to add few milestones into your path of doing the project, and in those milestones, we will be expecting some deliverables. For an example, like the deployment report he was mentioning at the last in his presentation. So that is the meaning of having these specialization specific projects, and through those we expect our students can put whatever the specialization skills that they have gained from third year modules into practice, internship knowledge into practice. And also we expect our students to bring problems that they have found during their internships to the class, and then try to solve it through their RP projects. So at least within the SC department, these are the aspects, these are the goals that we are trying to achieve by having these specialization specific projects. So that we believe towards the end of your RP project, you all will be actually industry ready. You all will be understanding what a real I won't say real, but what an innovative software engineering project would have, what sort of components are needed in a real SC project. So that is the common goal as a department we are expecting our students to reach. Having said that, shall I do a small screen share? I have a small, like a very few things to tell. Susit, I'm overriding and then sharing. So this is actually a Notion page that Professor Noan Kodaguda created at some point. And he was explaining these things with his students as well as during our previous batch RP Road to RP session. So actually, he was involved heavily when we were designing software engineering RP projects requirements. So there are certain mandatory things that we are expecting, and I'm pretty much sure Mr. Tusit has already addressed these things. But let me also go through once again through these things. For an example, from SC project, from day one, we would expect you to maintain a Git repo, a way of collaborations, maintaining collaborations and doing versioning, control like source controlling, applying all the techniques you have learned in a software, right? Because it will be a group project. So 4 of you or 3 of you will be working together to achieve a common goal. But inside that common goal, you individually will be having your individual goals. So you individually will be having your own different branches, and then your repo, like even for the repo, you may have to come up with some kind of an architectural, let me say, a diagram or a designing that your repo has to be maintained. So there has to be, like, what we are trying to do is we want to mimic what the industry is actually doing. So by the 4th year, most of you have experienced what is happening in the industry through your internships. That's our belief. So we want to bring that knowledge in a common group and then share your knowledge so that collaboratively you all will learn from each other. So maintaining Git repo is quite compulsory, mandatory for SC projects. And so as in certain some specializations like IT, and then I don't exactly remember others, maybe ISC, I'm not very much sure. So they may be having same goals. And also we may expect you to use some kind of a project management tool, because this is a project that will have a start time and an end time and a set of milestones that one team has to, or one individual has to reach. So over the time, what are the tasks, how the task distribution is happening, how the tasks are achieved along the timeline. You can manage these things very easily when you use a Trello board, or Trello is a very basic thing, but once again, Trello is not free. There is the free version is not free anymore as far as I know. So though Trello was there, but there can be any other project management tools who may be having free versions. And even if you can't find anything, even MS Plan would do, right? And then using Docker for development and for deployment, whether you are using containerization or not, is it needed in your research scope? And can we go ahead and then do some innovative aspect using into that deployment element inside your project? That also could be a research contribution from a SC project, right? It's not only about the machine learning model training part and then being innovative in the data set and then doing only ML components. RP could be about anything in the entire software engineering process, right? More towards definitely development, but you can cover or you can introduce innovation into any of the aspects inside your product. Ultimately, in this year, at the end of 10 months or so, you will be coming up with some kind of a solid tool, a technology, a piece of technology that can be used by a specific user group, that will be addressing a certain set of needs for a user group. So how you are going to deploy about that? How are you going to give it as a real product to your end user category? What are their needs? So understanding that and then thinking about not only development but about the deployment are equally important matters in SC projects, which wasn't the case 2 years ago, for an example, right? But now what we saw is it's very important our SC students are having this kind of knowledge, and also think about the scaling of your applications, the performance, the efficiency, the improvements that you can do, usage of cloud. Like cloud is everywhere. Cloud you have been using in your modules, your internships, maybe even for your second year projects, right? So how can we maximize the usage of cloud services? How can we optimize it? So you can use one of these things like AWS or Azure, and then or even the Linux kernel, if that is the thing that is needed for the deployment in your use case. So likewise, think about the different perspectives starting from the beginning of your application, which means you may need to work around your research problem, your solution architecture since day one, right? So all these elements are not the elements that you are going to address only at the end of the project. These should be thought well in advance, right? Based and even for that, you may have to gather requirements. You may have to think about your end users. And think about the HCI aspects, think about the user experience. All these things should come together when you are designing a complete solution. So that should be there, that should be visible throughout your RP project. And so, of course, maintaining CI/CD pipeline, if your projects are needed or are suitable, or there is a requirement of using MLOps, whether you are like, it's not only about training a model per se or giving some testing data and validating it. So that was like a couple of years ago, machine learning student projects. But now you need to think about the operational perspective. How are you going to actually launch a model, deploy a model after training? What sort of things can be used? And security, and these models might be free open source models. So how, if those are closed models, what is the limitation of the usage? If it is an open model, what are the things that you can do? How can you optimize? So all these things have to be thought well in advance, and also your documentation, your presentations, Viva, should demonstrate these kind of knowledge coming through your solution. Okay. And yeah, I told about the scalability, optimization of the solutions. And if you are thinking about integrating any ML models, you just can't say like I'm going to use this unsupervised learning. This could be the model, and that's it. No, it won't be enough. Then you may have to understand all the approaches, um, all in the sense like at least like couple of options to solve a certain problem using ML model, one or two models, and then you need to have some kind of a comparison, a knowledge around that to pick that particular model A is better than this particular model B in order to solve this problem due to these certain factors. So you have to explain those things in your demonstrations, in your Viva sessions, right? Don't wait until the panel asks, like, why did you use this model? Why not the other model? What made you to think that this is the most suitable answer, right? So you have to come up with your own rationale. In order to do that, you need to understand, compare, contrast multiple models working in like achieving similar kind of targets, and then pick the most usable or useful one that is suitable for your context. So of course you have to work around these things, right? And also whether the models are customizable or not, what sort of customization is provided within the model. You must be aware about all ins and outs. Okay. And if you're thinking about these like generative models, you may have like if you are not familiar about this platform Hugging Face, like you can visit that. I'm not a very expert in that area, but then like there are these kind of small language models versus large language learning models, and then what are the differences between these, what are the things that we can use, whether I can take a small language model, or there can be models which are trainable by using small amount of data. You don't have to have heaps of data just to train about a certain thing. So these are different avenues that you have to understand if your project component is around machine learning or artificial intelligence. So you have to know all ins and outs about it, about the models that you're using, and their like performance, their usability, the limitations. All these things should be like, as a learner, you have to be aware about all these things, right? A panel would ask definitely about these kind of things. And then Mr. Tutsis once again mentioned about the UI UX experience. And in fact, we are going in detail about the user experience perspective, prototyping, evaluation of those prototypes. You have to provide evidence. You will be iteratively doing this, enhancing the user experience of actual users. You have to be empathetic about your actual users. If you are, for an example, I have found students doing projects for blind people, but they have no clue about like what a blind person would be going through, whether their technology is even applicable. The solution that they are trying to design is applicable in their shoes, in their skin, in this blind people context. So this user empathy, understanding your users, end users of a particular application domain, is a key knowledge that any software engineer must have. So user experience, enhancing that, designing towards those goals is key elements that our software engineering students must possess. That's why we have a separate milestone that Tusit was explaining regarding a video. So we are expecting that level of understanding regarding UI UX experience about your solution. And definitely, yes, you have to integrate your components together. Your final product has to be one single product. it shouldn't be some chunks of services here and there scattered. No, your architecture should be leading you towards the end of the project. It should be leading you to a single product which is integrated and completely deployable in a real scenario. So we have to you have to plan your journey, RP journey till that. Some of these things from day one you will not be able to address, or you will not be very clear about it. But it's a research journey. In a research you always discover things, and your supervisors are there. That's why constant meetings with your supervisors is encouraged, and we make it mandatory also. Talk to your supervisors, talk to experts, talk to domain users if you are talking about a specific scenario. So go visit to these, do field visits. So by that you can learn a lot of things around the whatever the knowledge that is needed around the project. By applying that, you will be able to design a better product when it comes to your RP project. So those are the things. Yes, those are the things, main things. Did I miss anything, Hansi or Tusit? Those are the things that I was thinking about telling you. If I miss anything,
yeah.
please. Yeah.
Anything regarding the selecting the research group when selecting the TAF? There's a question. Do you think whether they can, yeah. Should
Okay.
it be SST only?
No. There is no mandatory requirement as that. I mean, just because you all are software engineering students, whatever the solution that you come up with will be definitely a software solution, right? And that doesn't mean you always have to pick software systems and technologies. For an example, it could be a data-driven intelligence system, right? Or some IoT devices, the device connected with something else with a UI interface and a backend. So you can even label it as under AIMS with a small robotic part. So it can fall under any category. These are known as research clusters in FOC. If you are not very sure about that, I would say for now, please talk to your supervisor. Ask from your supervisor what could be the most ideal one. Right, to sit, maybe you are not you may not be very you are clueless. You could be clueless about it, what to put there. There are some examples given in your in the course web page. I think these clusters are available. So it's better to pick software systems and technologies. And at the end of the day, most of you will define it as a software engineering project. But you don't have to restrict yourself to that. Most of your, let's say maybe more than definitely 50% of your projects will be fallen under this category. But that doesn't mean every group will be that. Is that clear, Tusit? Is that clear for the others?
And hope, regardless of the cluster, we will be evaluating SE aspects as we have mentioned.
Yes, that's why I was talking about the ML components. Most of our students think having a data set and training a model and getting some result, testing it on another data set would do. That is not a software engineering project, right? So your software engineering project should have software engineering elements also. Okay, and even if you're using a model, it shouldn't be a model that is already existing. Then there is you don't have anything to code in the first place then, right? If you're not even customizing the model and introduce doing some I don't know, feature selection or applying any other things other than if you are taking a raw model as it is into your component, and then you are saying, okay, I have reached about 97% of accuracy with this data set, so and so. There's nothing novel that is coming out from that. It is already there in plenty of tutorials that are available in YouTube or any other resource in the internet. So you just copy paste it and then run it in Google Colab or somewhere and then show us, this is my RP project. That's not going to work, right? So there has to be different software engineering elements, some level of full stack development based on like depending on the component that you are defining. So likewise, there are many things that you have to look around. Hope that is clear. Hassan, Tusitanjana, can we share the presentation slide deck that you explained?
Yeah, maybe centrally, madam, will share them with maybe
Yeah,
with,
true.
Ninal's help. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So through the SESC, we will try to centrally share the document. But that doesn't mean you have to meet only those milestones. Whatever Dr. Jayant and his RP team is saying, the assessments, the components to deliver, you have to do that. Among those things, you have to do what the department is specifying also. But our milestones are not a lot. It's a couple of milestones. We have 3, right, Tustanjana? I think
Yeah,
so,
we
no?
have 3, but
Hmm.
throughout the project period, the contribution will be there for each 3.
Definitely. Yes. Yes. So it's not that like your PP2 is tomorrow and tonight you do all the 200, 500 commits. Once again, doesn't make any sense. Right? So this journey has to be a gradual journey that you are doing constantly. Okay, so don't do these kind of silly mistakes as a C student and come and present that in front of a panel. That won't work. Any questions? If not, we are running out of time also, Dinal. No, we have to invite our guest speakers. Sorry if I took a lot of time.
It's okay, madam. All right,
I
then.
think I hope we have answered the question. So there's a question based on microservices orchestration and optimal resource management. So I believe UX, UI UX will be there, like even for developing dashboards, terminals. If there's a user, the user experience part will be coming somehow. So you need to figure that out, Simran. That's the only question we can see here, and I think we have answered other questions. Apart from that, I think we can conclude.
All right then. So thank you, Dr. Kalvini Manatunga and Mr. Sujandan Tilakaratne for that insightful session and helping us understand how to do the research project as a software engineering student. So now I would like to invite Mr. Shehan Silva, Associate Software Engineer at Random Software, runners-up at InnoServe 2023, Taiwan, and Merit Award winner at NBSQA 2023. And joining him is Mr. Shehan Bartholomew, software engineer at Pearson, semi-finalist at Microsoft Imagine Cup 2024, Best Paper Award at ICAC 2023, and SLIIT's Merit Award winner in software engineering specialization. Stage is yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Is my screen visible? Not yet, I guess. Yep. How about now? Hello.
It's visible now, Shehan.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. Right, guys. In Shehan, are you here? Yeah, I think.
Shehan, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, yes.
Okay. So let's start. First, let us introduce ourselves. So I'm Shehan Bartholomew. I'm a software engineer at Pearson Lanka, and recently I became a semi-finalist at Microsoft Imaging Cup 2024, and I received the State Merit Award in Software Engineering Categorization. And I wrote a research paper during my research project and presented it at ICAC 2023, and it was recognized as an outstanding paper at the Best Paper ceremony. And yeah, that's about me. So, Shehan, how do you?
Yep. Thank you, Shehan, for your introduction. So I'm Shehan Silva. I work as an associate software engineer at Random Software, and Yeah. As for my achievements, my team has been runners-up at the SERV 2023 Taiwan, and we have been awarded the Merit Award at NBQSA 2023. So that all of these achievements, those two achievements, are for a research project that we carried out in our 4th year. So and I'm a fresh graduate. I graduated. Both of us are fresh graduates, so we both graduated in the most recent graduation ceremony. So we are pretty much close of your mentality on how you feel right now before the start of the research project. So we have been there and we understand how you're feeling. So yeah, guys. So this session of us two for you is to give you let's say a motivation to what you are going to do. So and what you need to expect and the challenges you will be facing. So this all will be based on our experience. And also, I would like to request, I think, Dinal, do you have a form right now in the chat as we talked?
I will put the form in the chat and pin it.
Yeah, thank you, Dinal. So Dinal will put a form in the chat. So when we will be discussing these points that you see, please go to that form and add your question. So at the end, we will be able to answer all those questions. So we'll be going this as a discussion. It won't be just a presentation based discussion, but we'll talk more and about our experiences and share with you guys. So you will get questions, and that's what we want. We want questions, and we'll try our best as per our knowledge to give you the most perfect answer. So yeah, and yeah. So the points of for discussion that you can see, we will talk about the challenges and how to overcome them. Well, by challenges, I mean the basic and the common challenges that any student will get. And we'll talk about the importance of competitions and how to get your project competition ready. So, and also we'll move on to the research components, deciding novelty, and then the challenges in writing the research paper. And finally, with all that, with all the questions, we can move to the Q&A session. Right, guys, so let's dive in. So challenges. So I believe most of you guys are from, when I say guys, I mean both parties. So I'm not discriminating anyone. So guys, most of you, I think you are from the 4th year, but I mean after the topic selection phase and the grouping phase. But for some of you, this might be a challenge that you haven't faced yet. So let's see topic selection, grouping, the time, and the downfalls that you get throughout the year. Those are some common challenges that I have got and anyone would get. All right, let's see what about topic selection. Well, selecting a topic, it's very stressful. It has been very stressful when selecting a topic because this is a crucial point of your research which will affect the whole upcoming or ongoing year of yours. So I'm not trying to scare you, but I just only want to highlight the importance of this phase. So, and to do this, to have a good topic, you have to have so much conversation, communications going on within your team and with your supervisors and co-supervisors. So, well, you might not get that chance at that time with your supervisors as for your team because our supervisors are our lecturers, so it's obvious that they are busy. So try to get the best out of the time that they give you. If they give you a specific time frame, just be prepared with all the things that you have. Give them the best input that you could give, so you will be able to get the best feedback. So try that and try to make it efficient in time, and always provide them with your inputs, even though they could be busy, just you could leave a message or that. So track all the things that you're doing. And yeah, and also between your teammates, you have to have constant communication in this phase, because we experience it. So we could arrive into our topic with constant communication. We communicated, we had meetings all the time, and then we could arrive to a good topic. So I'll show you how you could get to a topic just one way. Mr. Chandan sir also has did this explanation as well, but I thought of sharing it with you as well. Let me reshare my screen. Right. Is it the Google screen that you see? I guess yes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So, so selecting a topic. So now I am talking about these sustainable development goals, which Mr. Tustanjana talked earlier. So those sustainable development goals are from the United Nations. So whatever you do to help these goals will be and will be very your project will be at a very good stage if you could help a goal to reach a goal like this. Let's say, well, first of all, what you have to do is to narrow down your idea. So, well, before coming to an idea, actually, let's say first you have to choose one out of these goals. So let's just focus on quality education, maybe. So if you select goal for quality education, you can go to this and then okay, you can see information here. You can see the problems that they are facing and the plan that they have to achieve this goal. And so with that plan, so there's an overview here, the problems that they're facing. And by reading all this, you could nearly get to an idea of what you're going to do. So you could really get an idea of what you're going to do. So this is really how we did as well. So if you go to targets and indicators, so there are a few targets that they have mentioned, and with the year by 2030. So just go through this, go through each of them, and then you will most probably get some idea of a project, innovative project. So that's how we did. And well, this is one way to have a good topic for research for a competition, and as well as yourself as well. But these types of topics will be very important in going through with through competitions, since the competitions really care about these goals as well. So yeah, this is actually one way, and I wanted to share that fact with you. So moving on to the next one, we got the grouping issue. So I think, as I said before, most of you might have already passed this challenge, but this is a challenge that it is facing initial phase of the research project. So, and according to my view, you don't really need 4 students in the top 4 students in a batch to build a top group. So it should be a balance between skill and relationship between members. So if I say, for an example, if you get a new member who is known to be the top of the batch, but you don't have a good relationship, I mean, not a relationship as much as friendly you could have with another student, I don't think that group can go so far. So, well, that could change, but in most cases, what I recommend is have some set of people who can work together, who you think who are good friends, who can work together. You can't really keep people who are lot of who don't have much skill and then want other people to get work done. Not that type, obviously, but I mean, don't think that the top people will always come and clutch your group. So it won't happen, and it really won't create a successful project, group project. So this is a group project, so all people will should be collaborative and have nearly equal minds. So that's pretty much, well, people don't consider this one, but I have seen how this affects the group environment, and it is really up to the leader to maintain this relationship between members. So being a leader is pretty much responsive, very responsible towards this. So yeah, so that's what I want to say about grouping. And then we got time. But the time issue we have been getting not only for the research, but for the other assignments as well. So our lecturers really know how our students ask them to extend the deadlines and all. So guys, don't really expect these deadlines extensions, because if you really have that in mind, then you won't really do the work at that during that time period. It won't happen for real. So always have a plan ahead. Think of what you can do. If you take PP1, just don't stick with the PP1 plan. Have a plan ahead where what you're going to do for PP2. So have that plan. The leader should like create a plan with the other members, and then you can execute the plan phase by phase. So you should be sticking to the plan without going back, but you could do it better by getting the forward things to backwards. So that would be the best way to execute this. So, and time will not be a problem if you go to a plan. So that's what I mainly wanted to say. And downfalls. So, well, downfalls, it happens in every group. So conflicts can arise in a group. That's a big challenge to face. So during topic selections as well, conflicts can arise between members. So that one you should manage it by, the leader should be understanding actually. He should be flexible to everyone's opinion. Discuss with a positive mindset, and then arrive to a conclusion with all team members. So that's what I think are the main challenges that as undergraduates in the fourth year can face, and that things that we have faced. The pretty all right. And guys, another I want to remind you, where while I'm explaining, or while Shehan is explaining, if you get a question, just go to the form and then fill it. You could submit any number of questions you want. So, and it's anonymous, so you could ask anything except for deadlines and all. We don't know them. So you could ask anything about the competitions, or how we did our research, or anything like that. So yeah, let's carry on. And yeah, this part actually Shehan will be explaining you. So I'll be giving the presentation to Shehan. Thanks so much. Shehan, you can carry on.
Yeah, thanks, Shehan. Yeah, so let me explain why competitions are important. Like, what are the pros of competitions, right? So let me explain like this. So during my final year, I attended I participated in two main competitions, which is NBQSA and the Imaging Cup. And let me tell you my story. When we as a team participated in NBQSA. So at that point, actually, my supervisor was Mr. Samadhi, and he actually pressured us like, okay, go to this competition and win, guys, and it is very important. And yeah, like that. And so I mean, we had a lot in our plate. We were all doing all four of our members were doing full-time jobs, and we had to do our research work as well, and we had to study, and we had to go to competitions as well. So we just tried to do the bare minimum and go to the competition. So obviously the first time when we attended the NBQ, when we participated in NBQSA, so we were able to get through the initial round, which was in the slate, and we selected for that, and then we got to go to the IIT, and then here on, then afterwards we were not selected, obviously. But Shehan, my friend, they also were participating in that competition, and so they had the opportunity to go beyond that level and win the competition. And so one thing I was able to witness by looking at my friend, so they had confidence in themselves, and I saw that they had prepared some, they were preparing some leaflets, and they gave much effort to that. So by seeing that, and I saw that they won, and they had the opportunity to go to Taiwan and compete with the international students, and he actually won in INESERV. And also, so by looking at it, I was thinking like, okay, so this, he got the recognition because he gave this effort into this, the additional effort. So what, as a team, as we decided to participate in the next coming competition, which was the Imaging Cup, and we decided to give that effort as well. So we did. We gave our best, and we worked very hard, and we went to the semi-finals now. And so what are the pros? Obviously we got the national recognition because we were in the top 20 teams from the whole world, the entire world. So obviously we got the national recognition from Microsoft Sri Lanka, and also we had the opportunity to get mentorship from Bethany, who was a cloud advocate at Microsoft, and also Paul, who was the CEO of Hackbit.io, and those people, they actually mentored us. They mentored us, and they taught us how to pitch an idea, how to pitch an idea and to a certain people, and tell them that we are like a good business. So those kind of pitching levels. So as a research team, we know that we had to do researches, and we had to do implementations, but we did not know how to pitch our idea as a business and how to gain money like that, right? So that's a great mentorship and great things we learned from them, and so you can get experiences like that, and also international recognitions. So a lot of people from Imaging Cup organizing team, they recognized us, and they especially Christopher, he actually witnessed how we work, and he was very impressed with us, and he told us how we can improve and like that. I mean, you guys know the industry we have today, right? So I don't have to explain about the jobs and everything, right? So obviously you have to do something to make yourself outstand from the other people to get a job. I mean, that's the industry we have today for some reason. So these competitions are a great way to do that. I mean, just doing your research and completing your degree might not be able to get you a job, because a lot of in this current situation, we have a lot of graduates and those things like that, right? So that's why you have to go into these participate into in these competitions and win those and get recognition and have something like something valuable in your CV. So those are the things that I had to mention in this slide. So shall we go to the next slide, Shehan?
Well, I think that's my part.
Yeah.
Right. Hey guys, so now now that you know the importance of competitions, I wanted to talk, actually we wanted to talk about how to get your project competition ready. So, and with that, we'll go through the path that we had during competitions. So, well, this is my path, as you can see in the slides. And I'll go through one by one to explain you what we have done throughout the steps. So, first one, we had to have a good project by PP1. So that's for regular badges. And I believe most of you guys are from the June batch. If yes, you all have an upper hand in this perspective, because all the competitions nearly start around June and July. So by June and July, the June badges have got a final product by then, since their final presentation is also over. So they've got the upper hand, but the regular batch students don't get demotivated. Both me and Shehan are from the regular batch, so you could do this. So, and I think most of the projects are from the regular batches as well, which go to NBQSA. And June batches students don't get demotivated. I think that's because regular batch has more students. So anyone has an equal chance for this, and I'll guide through how we did it and how we attained a status of a good project by PP1. Okay, so by PP1, what we are asked is to have 50% of a component. But is this 50% in a status to be shown to somebody, in a status in which someone can understand what you are doing? So, and that's what you have to focus. You have to create a plan and have this 50% in a state which can be shown to someone, which from which someone can understand the potential of your project. So this is what we have done. So for an example, let's take a project. So someone could develop a backend, 50%, either let's say 50% of the backend, and in that same backend there's another feature called, let's say, difficulty level adjustment. So they complete that too. So they do difficulty level adjustment, and then they do the main feature that you're supposed to do. All right, so they say that, okay, we have done 50%, but they don't have a UI to show the results. Well, some students might have something, just a click button and then some view to get this result, but it's not a complete UI. You can't show that to a client or to someone who expects your product. Well, what you can do here is forget difficulty level adjustment that I said, forget the main feature, and do the UI to the main feature. That's how you can maintain 50% or more and have a project that can be shown to someone, especially in competitions. So in competitions, people don't, the panels don't really look at projects that are just have a console log in your front end. So, and those projects don't really get selected through Slit as well. So keep that in mind. Whatever you do by PP1 for regular badges, have something that can be shown, have something that is full that can be shown to someone, rather than having part of each other. So plan that for PP1, and I'm sure you could get far with that one. So that's how we reach actually a good, yeah, relatively good project by PP1. So, and then there was this NBQSA selection from our university. So in that one also, it was like the NBQSA first round, pretty much the same thing. We had to do a presentation followed by a demonstration. So, and well, here I have to mention our personal experience. So we had difficulty here. So, and we are really glad we did that mistake, because we learned from that mistake. And what I'm saying is, do mistakes and learn from them. So what happened for us here is, so we went to this towards our panel members, and then we started our presentation. Before starting our presentation, we checked our mobile data that we had. We didn't connect to the Wi-Fi since it was a bit slow, so we connected to our mobile data. We had about 1 GB by then. So also with that 1 GB, we also had this application which was used to screen our phone to the projector screen. And while I was doing the presentation, so I was the one who presented the project to the panel members. So by the demonstration, I got the phone from my team member, and then I saw connection error. So it was all fine until I took the phone. At that moment, it got that error with internet connection. And yeah, it was a pretty bad thing then, since we had so much expectations and we prepared a lot for that. So, but anyways, we had a demonstration video, so I think that went well because of that. So yeah, so what really happened here was we ran out of data. So only later we discovered that we ran out of data, and the reason was that application, it consumed a lot of data and we didn't know, and we didn't have any data backup. So that was bad, but we learned something there to have a backup. But anyways, we had a backup in terms of video demonstration videos. So that went well there. And the thing I want to highlight is learn from your mistakes, and never give up or mentally fall down due to a mistake. They really come in handy one day. So yeah, so next step, NBQSA first round. So NBQSA first round, by the end, it was at IIT. So, and by the end, yeah, it went well. As it ended, we felt it went well. So as a result, we were selected to the final round, which had 10 teams. Yes, 10 teams in the final round. And yeah, in the first round, there were about 30 and 40 teams. But in the final round, they shortlisted 10 teams. And after the final round, like 2-3 weeks later, we were told that we got nominated for the InnoServe competition in Taiwan, and also during the award ceremony, we were said that we won the merit award as well. So, well, we didn't expect this nomination for InnoServe actually, because we didn't really know back then about InnoServe, but later we discovered that it is a very prestigious competition. So we went for the round one, which it was online, and it was submission actually. There was a video submission and few document submissions. So, and I have to mention our supervisor and co-supervisor, Dr. Ilishan De Silva and Mr. Samit Vidanarachi. They were really helpful in this stage. So you have to have this connection between your supervisor and co-supervisor for your project success as well. So in this online round, there were, I think, more than 1,000 teams from all around the world, because it was open. It was an open competition, but since we got the nomination from Sri Lanka, we might have got the upper hand there as well. So, and then after we submitted the documents, 2 weeks later, we got the email that we have been selected to the global finals, which are held in Taiwan. So that's was a pretty amazing feeling to read through that email, and that happiness really, when you get that type of email, you just have a flashback of what you have gone through, all the sleepless night. But it didn't really end there. I knew that there are more sleepless nights, and there was more effort to put in, because we really represented our university, and we really, not only our university but our country as well. So we went there, and there were 10 countries, 10 finalist countries: Sri Lanka, Singapore, Belgium, Russia, Canada, and a few other countries. So, and we really made a lot of friends there as well. So those members from those 10 countries are, we were really, I think, equally minded. All were into tech stuff, and we were always talking about tech stuff, but not only tech stuff, all the fun things as well. So it was a really great experience. They, from the competition, not only the competition, but they gave us a trip, and we had 2 or 3 days of leisure time. So they treated us really well, and it was a great experience. So yeah, I have to talk about the competition as well. So it was the same thing as NBQSA, but it was very challenging with the time. So we only had 4 minutes, I think, 4 minutes to our demonstration and presentation. So we prepared a lot for this. So I think you could imagine how hard it can be to demonstrate a product and present it in 4 minutes. It was really tough, but we anyways did it. And at InnoServe, it wasn't only the competition, the presentation that we had, but there was an exhibition as well. So business people came in, schools came in, other tech people came in. They walked through our stall that we had. We had a stall, a separate stall for our product, with the banners that we took from Sri Lanka, the banners, the flyers and all. So it was a great experience. Many people talked to us. We shared a lot of ideas of how to improve, and finally we were able to win the runners-up award at InnoServe. So I said all of this to give you a motivation to that you can achieve things like this. So if you could, well, you can. So I was an undergraduate like you 1.5 years ago, 1 year ago, yeah. So you could get into this. Just don't get demotivated and work for it. And think, dream about it, and not only dream, you have to have an action plan for that as well. So yeah, that's actually our story in my team. Right, I'll hand it over to Shehan with his story. Yeah, wants to motivate you. And I have a few snaps from here. Yeah, from NBQSA, and so yeah, the middle one is from the exhibition I told you. Yeah, just a fun time with the student, with the international people here, right? Okay, Shehan, over to you with your experience. Oh, sorry, we can't hear you, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thanks, Shahan.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so let me start our my story, our team story, DevLex, and with the NBQSA. Yeah, so just after our PP1, we participated in NBQSA, and we had to rush things, and we had to like complete our project up to some level in order to participate in NBQSA, and we did that. But one thing I have to highlight is even though we participated in NBQSA, we were not well prepared for that. Because we actually, by that time, we did not have an idea why these competitions are so important, and like we should participate in these, and like we actually had not that idea like we should do this. So obviously we got selected in this lead selections round, and we participated in the first round at IIT, and then thereafter we did not get selected, obviously, because we were not well prepared. And yeah, so Shehan's story is different from our story. He was able to get into the next rounds, and he went to Taiwan, and he win the INOSO. So the reason why I am telling you the story of us not getting selected is to motivate you by looking at the winners, and you can see that these guys won this because they had the confidence in themselves, and they gave much effort, and they worked hard to earn that win. And so the next competition came up, Emerging Cup, and our team actually our team is we are friends with the Shehan's team, so we know each other. And so our team was like thinking, okay, Shehan's team was able to go to Taiwan and win this competition, so why don't we do that? So we worked hard and we participated in Emerging Cup. So we had we worked very hard, and we prepared presentations. Likewise, like Shehan mentioned, we also had to pitch our business idea and demonstrate our product and do the presentation within 3 minutes in Emerging Cup. So we had to train like I mean, we had several training sessions, and we actually participated in that. We had to work a lot harder. We had to sacrifice our free times and those kind of things. So because we worked hard, we were selected in the initial rounds. Then we got selected in the first round, and we became semi-finalist at Emerging Cup. And becoming a semi-finalist means coming to the top 20 from the entire world. So we were able to do that. And yeah, so it was really satisfying. I mean, it is really satisfying when you work hard and you know that you earn something. That is pure satisfaction. Yeah, so the thing I want to highlight is, guys, don't think only toppers are going to, the people who are at the top of the class are going to win these things. Okay, this is not my thing, we will not win anyways. Don't think like that. We are all students, and just like Shehan mentioned, I was also a student like you last year. I had no idea about these competitions and anything. And don't think that, okay, I can't win this, we can't win this, on the class toppers will win these things. And don't think like that, guys. Just believe in yourself, work hard, and participate in these competitions, and you will see the miracles of you guys are winning. So that will happen definitely. So that is what I wanted to highlight, and that is why actually I have shown here that the reason why we did not get selected in the NBQSA as well. So let's go to the next slide, Shehan. Yeah, you explain.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Shehan, for the story. Very interesting. I'm glad to have been a part of it. Emotional. All right, so research components. This also we can take a challenge as a challenge. So I'll be talking about how we can create a research component out of our research. So yeah, there should be mainly three things: the impact of your component, the balance between the components, and the dependency of the components. So talking about the impact of the components, so well, you know that your research, whatever topic that you have chosen, already has an impact to the society, to the society. So, and also for your component, you have to see how it contributes to the impact. So if you have a impact, let's take it like this: you have an objective from your research, and let's take your components as a sub objective. So your sub objective should help uh, the objective to reach at its place. So I'll maybe explain this with an example. So if the main objective is to cure children with autism, it's just an example, not a real thing to do. So if the main objective is to cure children with autism, you cannot have a component that says identify children with autism. So because it is not related, your main objective is to cure children with autism. So if you have a component that says identify children with autism, it won't make any sense for your research, for your group research. So have a good understanding on that. And some students, junior students actually also ask me how these components are broken down. So that's one way to break the components, to think how the components should break. So when well, let's say you have decided a component, then dig into that and see whether finally the main objective is reached. Finally you help that main objective to be reached. So that's what I meant by impact. And then the balance. So by the balance, I mean now it's a group work. So those 4 people should have nearly equal components. I mean, one person can't have a component which takes 2 times the effort that one takes. But that wouldn't be a group project. That wouldn't make good research, especially in competitions. If you have the same workload for every member, I mean, you can't really have the same workload, but workload that goes nearly the same, it will be really good. With the collaboration, you could really achieve great things. So how to get this balance? So if you are already working somewhere, I think you might already have worked somewhere with the internship, you know, there's something called story points. So well, create your own story points for each. So to create these own story points, what you have to do, take your component, break it down as much as possible. So you know your component, right? So break it down as much as possible, and for each give it a specific number for the workload that you have. So that number should be, you should discuss how you define that, but anyways, have a common definition, and then balance out your components for each, so that the group won't be stressed with time. So well, we did this as well. We after we decided our 4 components, we did something like this. We checked whether all our components are balanced and whether someone has more work to do. So we could get a balanced set of balanced components from that, and it's very essential for the success of the project, because if someone does a component and the other doesn't, for the overall objective, it will be really bad. And also for even well, if you think, okay, individual marks, you can get individual marks, but your individual marks also get affected from other people's work, as my view, because if someone does a pretty much bad job, the next one who will be assessed, if it's you, then you will be thoroughly viewed by the panel. You will be viewed in ways, and you might get stuck in some things. So that's why the balance is important in both uh, assessing as lit and competitions as well. Right, so that's about balance and dependency. So, well, I see two types of components here. There can be components which are dependent to each other, and there can be components which are independent to each other. So, well, I don't know how now the research module goes, but it would be better if you could have independent components. So for an example, dependent component means if it's like having a project which goes according to a flow. So um, each member does one specific thing in that flow. So at last, well, there can be projects like this, but you should decide this based on the skills of the members that you have. So if you think that all members will do their work in the uh, on a equal amount of time, then it's okay. You can go with dependable components. So for an example, if you have a system that identifies some diseases in leaves, so first there's a component which identifies maybe magnesium deficiency or something like that, and then based on that result you have some other components. So that's like a chain. So that's how dependent components are. But independent components are just things that you do independently. So those four things are not directly uh, affected by each other, but that there can be obviously there can be, it's one project, but there can be a relation, but it is not direct. So that is how I view those dependent and independent components. So our project was based on few independent components, but it had few common few common things, like point. It was point based, our application, so the points were collected from each independent component. So that's how it became common. So yeah, so I hope you have understood what I've talked about research components. And well, the main thing that we want questions from your side, and I think we might already have some questions in the Q&A in the form that we have provided you. So yep, so we'll move to the next one. So you might have a question from this as well that I've explained, so feel free to put them on. We'll answer that at the later stage. Okay, so we can move on with novelty. Right, Shehan, you can continue the part.
Thanks, Shan. Yeah. So deciding a novelty. So guys, one thing I have mentioned is right now you are at the starting stage of your research projects. You might have several ideas, like this is what I'm going to do. Like for an example, let's just say I'm going to develop an application for a car wash. Also, let's say just an example. So you might think that that idea is very unique. No one has ever came across with that idea, and that's something unique that I have came up with. But trust me, guys, go to Google Scholar or some research article search engine, and try to search your idea. Like try to search some keywords around your idea, and you'll be surprised. Someone has already done your idea, done your idea and done created an application or something, or someone has already came up with that idea and done a research. I can assure 99.999% of the time that is the case. So if it is true, so how you can come up with a new idea? I mean, it seems impossible, which is sometimes true. So what you can do is, there are actually many ways for you to come up with a novel idea. So I'm just explaining my experience, how I came up with my novel idea, and how did I did my research. So that is the approach. The approach I do. That is what I'm explaining. This is my personal experience, and this is how I learned how to come up with a novel idea. So I had an idea. So what my research was actually to build a recommendation system with the new like last year we had like we could like there was no like specialization wise things. It was okay for us to do software engineers to do machine learning projects as well. I mean, yeah. So what I did was I implemented a recommendation system. So there are many ways to implement recommendation systems, and so what I did was I read research papers, and then I found out it's already done by someone. And then what I did was, in those research papers, if you look up to the if you look at the bottom of the research paper, most of the time at the bottom, there is a section called future work section. And in that paper they will say, okay, okay, this is what I have done, this is my research, and I have done this, and for future work you can do this, or you can do something like this. So this will be a future improvement to what I have done. So that is a new thing. So what you can do is you can read several papers and gather those future work sections, and you can come up with a new idea, and you can improve your idea, and do something very novel that no one has ever done. That is what I did, and that's how I completed my research, and how I wrote my research paper as well. And I will show you an example. So shall we go to the next slide, Shehan? Yeah, so this is a part of the research paper I have wrote. This is the research paper I wrote in my last year. This is the research I wrote, and this is the research paper that I got a award at the Best Paper Award ceremony at ICAT 2023. And if you see this highlighted area, I have written there, look, there's an existing avenue for future research, which involves exploring the use of multi-policy, multi-objective reinforcement learning, and blah, blah, blah. So for any reader who is reading my research paper, I have mentioned that, okay, you can read my research paper, and here's a new thing you can do in the future. So this is a new part. So now someone can read my research paper and do this as an hour part, and you have evidence. So if your research panel asks, okay, how can you defend that this is novel? How can you tell this no one has ever done this? And you can show that. So show this research paper and say, see, this guy is telling this is a future thing. So you also have a way to defend your idea as well. So that is a great way for you to find a novel idea, novel component. I hope this can be used in any sort of ideas. Like mine was pure machine learning, and anything. I mean, you can apply the same thing to anything, any idea you have. So this is a way of doing it from many ways. So you can come up with brand new ideas, and you can just execute it. You can do that as well, but be sure to search it and see that no one has done it before. So otherwise it won't be a research. Yeah, so that is one thing I wanted to highlight. And moving on, shall we go to the next slide, Shahan? Yeah, this section actually, I decided to speak about this section it will be very quickly. So you guys are from June batch. I'm not sure if I'm correct, so if I'm wrong, please disregard whatever I'm saying. For June batch, you guys do not have the option to publish your paper at ICAC because their ICAC's uh, a research paper submission starts at I think around um, October, November, or something like that. So by that time, you will have finished your research works and you will have done with everything. So you don't have that option. And I might be wrong. I don't know if there's any changes in this year. So please check it. And also I have heard that some June batch students from some June batch students that they do not have much options to publish in research journals articles, which might not be true. I'm not sure again. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So what you can do is speak with your supervisors, and I can't actually, I'm not the person to say okay, this journal is wrong, you can't use this journal, like I don't think I am a suitable person to say that. So you can speak with your supervisors and get an idea on how to choose a journal or a conference to write your research paper. For an example, if you are doing an HCI research, so you can even you can search in Google HCI research journals, and there are like journals which publish papers monthly likewise. So you can choose anything, and you can cross check with it with your supervisors, and please be sure to check it. There are some fake journals as well, which they ask you money and they will just publish whatever thing you write, and CDAP will not give marks for those kind of journals. So please be sure to cross check with your supervisors. So that's one thing I want to mention. Yeah, so shall we go to the next slide? Yeah, so this might not be related to the research project. One thing I wanted to mention was, guys, fourth year is very important because you guys might already know you have a weight of 50%, 50% weight in your WGPA from your fourth year. So guys, it does not matter what the GPA you do have now. So I had in my third year I had 3.53 GPA. I stood no chance to get a first class degree with 3.53 GPA, right? But I worked very hard, and I did my best, and I got a good GPA in my fourth year, and I got A+ in my research project, and I got A's in other modules as well. And because of that, I was not only able to get a first class degree, but I got the Slate Merit Award under under software engineering categorization. So guys, fourth year might be your turning point. You can you still have time. If you have lower grades at this point, you still have time. Study hard, work hard, do your research very well, and do your exams well, and you can achieve your dreams even at this point. So that is one thing I also wanted to mention. Yeah. So handing over to you, Shaham. I think those were the things we had to discuss. Yeah. So question Q&A, if you have any questions.
Oh yeah, you could raise the questions here, or shall we go through the questions in the form? Yeah, before that, I want to show my gratitude, and we are very thankful for the software engineering community, Slate, and also Dr. Kalpani Manatunga and Mr. Chandana Tilakaratna for giving us this opportunity to enlighten the students, to enlighten our juniors, so on their research path. So I hope we hope you got a good motivation out of this, and also a bit of idea of what it's coming for you in the upcoming year. All right, guys. So let's go with the questions. Well, you could drop questions in the chat as well now, but I'll go with the form. Just one question that says, should we be ready for 2 topics as backup? Since if TAF round 1 fails, then we should have another topic. Yeah. So it's good if you have a backup topic. So better that you have a backup topic, because TAF is a very crucial phase as well. So if you fail the TAF, you have to do everything that you did, and there's no different timeline going for students who fail the TAF. So it's the same timeline. So well, don't think of failing the TAF as well. It will become very hard if you fail the TAF. So yeah, but okay, it's okay to have a backup plan as well. So have that backup plan. It's good to have a backup plan anyways. Right, so we got another question. Any tips on breaking down components? I think I have explained that. When breaking down components, you have to have the idea of the impact of your components. So if you know the main objective of your whole research, well, based on your topic, you have to find your components. But I'm not saying how to break them down, because it's not common to every project, but I'm saying the way it should be broken down. It should be based on the weight that you have. So that's the way of breaking down, but how it should be broken down, it is really based on your topic. So yeah, that's one. And it is, yeah, if it is hard to meet supervisors and co-supervisors, how should we handle that? Well, Shihan, do you have anything for that? Well,
Yeah. Shah, can you repeat that question? I don't actually have the access to read this question.
yeah, asking if it is hard to meet supervisors and co-supervisors, how should we handle that?
How to choose? Hard to choose? Oh,
Yeah, how they can handle that?
hard to choose supervisors. Is that it?
No. They are having difficulties in meeting the supervisors. Well, that
Oh,
help.
yeah, guys.
I think try to be much connected with the supervisor, so you have the freedom to choose the supervisor. So well, that really can't be helped, but every lecturer, as I said, is busy, but they will give you time, obviously, to go through that and take the best out of it. So yeah, if on choosing supervisors, I've been thinking, if you go with a co-supervisor who is close with you, if you think that supervisor is really busy, don't have another co-supervisor who is busy at that level. So that's up to your choice. So when choosing supervisors and co-supervisors, please have that in mind as well, because they are obviously busy. It's not that they don't care about you, it's only because they are busy. So when choosing co-supervisors and supervisors, pay extra attention to that as well. And whoever has raised this question, I hope you'll be able to meet them as soon as possible. So okay, to the next question. So currently we are in a rush to submit TAF. Any advice for that? Deadline's on the 23rd. Well, time management, as I said, advisors. So my advice will be based on the status of what you are doing right now. So I don't know your status. So if I knew the status of your app right now, I could give you an advice. Well, you could watch. Oh, Shehan,
Yeah, one thing that
Yeah.
so guys, so I had like seen some fellows, some even some of my friends. So it's we actually as students, sometimes we tend to do things at the last moment, and it's a thing that we do. So guys, with research research project module, I don't think you can like do it with this module actually, because I have seen in PP1 and PP2, especially in PP2, basically you have to complete your project, and I have seen some people try to complete it within 1 week and like 4 to 5 days, and that's, you can't actually do that, because you have to, this is a like a year-long project, not like a 1 month or 2 month assignment. So you have a lot to do, so you can't do it at the last moment. And I know sometimes deadlines can be very tight, but please do manage your time. And I think you will get a timeline, like roughly saying, okay, you will have your PP1 evaluations at this month, and likewise. So you can speak with your team members and come up with a plan how you can achieve these goals and complete them before the timeline, before the deadline. So time management is the key, guys. Yeah, so yes. Shan, you're on mute.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, guys, one other thing that you should remember, if at this stage you think that you are behind the deadline, I mean, if you are in a situation which you feel you are behind, take that as an example, and when moving forwards, try to have a plan, and try to not make this happen again. So work for it, and well, getting late for the tough could turn it into the best possible way. So learn from it, as I said from my personal example before. Right, so we got 10 more questions. Can the TAF deadlines be extended? So sorry guys, I don't have the power for that. Yeah, sorry, I can't. What if our supervisors don't respond to our emails? Yeah, this question. Okay, so there's one good question. Did you all apply to competition after finishing the projects? So with the timeline that I said, for regular batch students, you are in the PP1 level when the competitions, well, during the competition season. So that's between June and July. So no, we didn't finish the project, but we had a specific set of features which could be shown to the whoever is presented, and we could show the potential of product using those features. So that's what we did. We didn't have 100%. Obviously, you can't do a 100% project by that time. So you have to be tricky. You have to be mindful in that. As I said, have a component, have a specific feature. So, well, I'm talking about one team member here, but there are 40 members. If all 40 members have one specific feature which can be shown to whoever client or panel, well, there's 4 features already in your project, and that's pretty good. So you can leave the small adjustments or small extra features that you are going to implement. So I mean, try to break down your component as much as possible, and when breaking down, have that demonstratable feature in PP1. So that's what I'm saying. And yeah, after finishing the project, you could do that if you are in the June batch, but yet you should finish it in a good way. So yeah. And question about balancing work and research. So well, my opinion is there's only 1 year that you have to spend for the research, but work there's more, there's like 25-30 years. So I don't think it will be an issue if you spend 1 year in this, because the 1 year you spend in this will really affect the 25-30 years that's coming forwards. So what I'm saying is, don't focus solely on work. Well, you should work. I worked as well. I worked as an intern back then. Well, I didn't also go to permanent roles as well, but I stick to my internship because I wanted to focus on my research as well. So do the work, but don't prioritize it. Prioritize the research. It's my opinion, because it's only 1 year here, and whatever, however good you do in this year, it will affect to the next 25-30 years. I think that makes sense. And Jehan, if you have any idea or suggestion, you could tell.
Yeah,
I'm just moving towards the questions.
Yeah, so guys, I was already a software engineer when I was doing my research project. So so I got promoted from intern to a software engineer during my end of my third year. So I had a lot in my plate with work and with studies. And so guys, what I have to tell you is time management is the key again, because from Monday to Friday you have to work. I'm talking about the weekend. I was in the weekend batch. I hope if you are working, you should be in the weekend batch. So Monday to Friday you have to focus on your work at wherever you work, and you might get some free times, and sometimes you may not. I mean, it depends on the company or the team you are in. So but during, you can wake up early, or you might be a morning person, or you can study at the nights, and you have the weekends, and you have to think about which times you can work on, like take 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day. You can choose whatever time that suits for you, or just 1 hour a day, and do something within that small period of time. Like okay, you have some, let's just say you have to develop an UI for your research project in campus. So let's say it's Monday, so just do something, just create a button today, and tomorrow you create something else again. Do something, even it is a little bit, just do it. Don't wait until the last moment. Okay, I will have too much work, I will do it later. Just do something when you have a free time, and you will not feel stressed, and you will be able to manage both work and time if you do that. Like, again, time management is the key, guys. You have to use your limited time and use it well. Yeah. You're on mute, chat.
I wonder whether who mutes me.
I am muting you.
It's a good tip, Shehan. So let's move forward. How to decide the scope of one component exactly? Well, I think I have answered that question already. So yeah, I'll move forward. How can we assign components to members at TAF level? Since at TAF level, we usually do not know how far this could go in terms of technology. And yes, true. Whatever you do in the TAF, you might not be doing in the real project. That can happen, but I mean, there are wouldn't be major changes, but there could be minor changes. So in the TAF level, don't mind the minor changes. So anyways, as I've said, there won't be major changes, there can't be major changes. So whatever you do in the TAF, just break it down from the TAF. It's okay. You'll just get some minor changes on the way. It's normal, because while developing, you'll get new ideas, you'll get new improvements, or you will think this doesn't work. And it's normal. When even for me, when I developed my model, I thought I could do the same with using CNN. Then I tried CNN, then it didn't work. Then I went for LSTM. So that can happen, and those are just minor changes, but it won't really affect on breaking down the component. So it's okay, just go with it, break it down as it is, and the changes will happen. So that won't be a big issue actually, according to our experience. Right, next question. If we implement something that has been done in another research paper, but with another technology or method, would it be considered a novelty? Okay, so yeah, but I don't know about now, but whether those are supported, whether you could do a research from a previous research. But according to our time, yes, you could do that. But as us in the question, you have said to use a different model. So, well, in a researcher tries different models already. So if he has pointed out a model that doesn't work here, well, I don't recommend you to go with that model, because he has already proven that it doesn't work. But if you like have a point to show that it works, well, however, go for it. But well, talking about competitions, I don't think it will be good to do this way, since in competitions it is better if you start from the scratch. So if you have someone else's idea into your project, I think it could become a little bit hard to move forwards with competitions. But well, we could move forwards with a split module though. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. One thing to add, Shahan. So the question was, is it okay to do the same sort of like the same thing that someone has already done, but with a different technology? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's just take for an example, someone has done a school management system, okay? And I'm also going to do a school management system. So the same idea. But I should have a way to say that, okay, mine is better, or their school management system had a problem like this. So my school management system solves that problem. Likewise, like you need to show something that why are you doing the same thing? Is it an improvement, or is it a better way to do it? Likewise, so my research was actually to develop a recommendation system, and like there are many recommendation systems. Anyone can come up with recommendation systems, but I specifically mentioned why I'm doing this my recommendation system in a certain way, because I need to achieve these kind of things. So you might have requirements. For an example, let's just take the recommendation system because I'm happy with it. Let's just say someone has done a recommendation system for a clothing shop, and they need to recommend when someone is buying a t-shirt, they are recommending a short as well for some reason. So I'm also developing a recommendation system for a clothing shop, and I have found out, I have spoken with clients who are buying from that certain clothing shop, and they say, let's just say they are going to buy a t-shirt, and they buy t-shirt because they also they like their t-shirts quality or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a recommendation system that when they are buying a t-shirt, I will recommend them other t-shirts as well, because that is their requirement. Likewise, the requirements can be changed. Like you have to show, okay, I'm going to do the same thing, but in a different way, because this is the reason. You have to show that reason. If you can do that, I think you're fine. Yeah, that's yeah.
So, yeah, thank you, Shehan, for your answer. And moving on to the next question. This is actually for you, I think. How did you code the reinforcement learning part? Can you suggest any resource? I think this is for you, Shehan.
How did I code the reinforcement part? Can you resources? So for the reason why I chose reinforcement learning, as there were some certain requirements I had to create into our product. So there are other projects to develop recommendation systems as well, like most common ones like content based or collaborative based. If you are familiar with those terms, like and so there were certain things that collaborative content based systems things can't handle. So sometimes reinforcement learning can handle those things, but there were some pros and cons as well. So I had to tell, okay, I'm using reinforcement learning because I want to have this into my product. The most common ways of creating a recommendation system, which is content based, do not have this. So I'm going with reinforcement learning, and that is the reason why I chose reinforcement learning. And for resources, actually, what I did was when I came into fourth year, I had no idea what even is machine learning. So I had to learn from scratch. I found I don't remember the name now. I found a tutorial in the YouTube, like what is reinforcement learning and how it works and that sort of things. So I watched those things and I learned from the scratch. And then again, once I got an idea how reinforcement learning works, then I read some papers which then I read papers in they have already used reinforcement learning recommendation systems, and then I found out there were some things that can be improved, and then I chose them, I listed them down, and then I decided, okay, these are the things. I chosen some research papers like 5 or 6, and then I chosen, okay, these lack this and this paper lack this, and I gathered all of things, and then I developed a brand new algorithm. So yeah. So guys, you can go into the most of the research papers I found it from the Google Scholar. So you can search like reinforcement learning based recommendation system, and you will find many papers. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, sure it will, I guess.
I will try to find the tutorial video playlist I was talking about.
Maybe that student can text Shehan and then you reply with your resources.
Yeah.
So, so well, there's one question I don't really get it. When our idea is already implemented, and because of that move to implement the future works on that idea, but our concern is without doing existing work cannot move to future works. But whoever has wrote this question, can you like ask it again? It's a bit unclear here, so we would love if you could turn on your mic and then ask, or you could maybe put that in the chat. So Yeah, meanwhile, I'll move to the next question. What was the CGPA and WGPA at the end of the 4th year? Yeah, this is for you, Shehan.
Yeah, sorry, I was typing the answer. What was the question, Asha?
What was the CGPA and WGPA
Oh,
at
I
the end
don't,
of the 4th year?
yeah, I don't remember the CGPA, but WGPA is 3.8.
Yeah, right. You got the answer. So, how to manage work and academics, and most importantly, how to manage the stress with module assignment projects, examinations along with RP. Well, that's uh, uh, let's say it's really common from the first year. Well, the stress you get is mainly because you maybe skip the first part of the timeline that you have. So if you start working from the beginning, well, you could get stressed, but it would be a little bit less than not a little bit less, but a lot less than doing the work at the end. So as I said before, you will have to plan whatever you do in the future. So when you plan and break those steps, you will not get that much stressed. You will get stressed, it's normal, but not that much stressed. So that's and how to manage work and academics, we already have answered in 2 different ways. So I hope you got something out of it. Then I move to the next session. Okay, so this is a question for Madam and Sir. No whether Madam and Sir are here. So they have asked if our supervisor is not in Sri Lanka or not replying to emails, how we do sign the tab. Um, I don't know whether Sir or Madam is here, but Dinal, I think it's better if you can see with that student. Uh, yeah, so that's not relevant to us actually. So uh, how do we select final year elective subjects? Okay, final year elective subjects. Well, well, for my personal experience, if you are choosing your final year elective subject based on the research that you are doing, uh, well, you get knowledge out of the subject, but it could be a bit late than you should have been getting that knowledge. So if you are doing something in the second year, but you need it in the research, you might have already applied that before in your first semester. So don't uh, think of the research path when choosing an elective subject. I mean, it could be beneficial, somewhat beneficial when your subjects align to your research, but there's something like that as well. But if you really think, okay, I'm doing a research on a ML and I'm going to do ML because I have to learn ML. No, you won't really, it won't really happen. You will learn ML, but it will be too late to apply. So whatever you are doing for the research, you'll have to do self-studies. So, well, that's one thing I would recommend. But Shihan, do you have anything recommendation for that? Selecting final year elective subjects? Well, my main recommendation is go see the contents and go with your heart, go with your mind, like uh, see what you're more passionate for and do it. Well, that's what I recommend. And Shehan, do you have any other recommendation for that? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So like Meshan mentioned, guys, don't only think about your research project. You will have to do your self studies and uh, learn the things that you have to do. But also think about your career paths as well, because after you graduate, you like if you are choosing a machine learning engineer or so some sort of path, then you will probably you will need the you will have to get the knowledge from like machine learning or deep learning. So better you choose those modules. But then again, think about what you want to do in your future and what are your like what do you like. Think about what do you want to do like if you really love machine learning, then choose machine learning. And yeah, and again think about your GPS as well. Like if you are targeting for an award or to achieve a high GPA, then choose something that you think that you can do very easily. Yeah, so it's actually I can't tell you that we can't tell okay do this. It depends on what you want to achieve. If you want to get a higher GPA, then I would recommend to choose something very easy. If you want to learn, then learn some modules like machine learning, then choose machine learning. It really depends on your requirement actually. Yeah.
Yep, right. So last question. Our research project is mainly ML based, but we know nothing about ML, where to start, as there are limited time. Guys, as I said, the research is based on totally self-learning, and for the question that you have raised, you will really discover it by yourself, because we have been there, and also we had this question, how we are going to learn. But once you start, you will unknowingly learn all the things needed. So you will find an answer to this question by 5 months. I'm pretty sure all of you will. So by now you might be clueless on what to do on how these technologies work, but you have many places to learn all of this. You got to have the time as well. So spend time on learning, and then you all software engineers and fourth year students, so you have the capability of learning things. So apply that skill, learn things, and apply them to your project. That's what I wanted to say about that. Yeah. So guys, that's it for the questions. So, but if you have any other question, you could maybe raise in the chat or unmute yourself and ask. We prefer if you could unmute yourself and ask. So, any question, guys? Oh, seems like not. Dinal, should we wind up the session or?
Yeah, so if there are no more questions, we can actually wind up the session. All right. Okay. So thank you both of you for providing your perspective and experience of the research project. And both of you covered many aspects of the research and its advantages. And I believe all of us were motivated by your feats in competitions and academics. Also, we are very appreciative of the Q&A session that you guys did. So again, I want to thank Dr. Kalpani Manatunga, Mr. Thusan Tilakaratne, Mr. Shan Silva, and Mr. Shan Bartholomeus for providing insights and motivating us in this year-long project. So let's meet again in another session like this in the future, and have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks guys, good night.